Hello everyone. It is Saturday, it's 4 o'clock, and we are going to create this card. I'm just going to pull up my page so that I can see if there are any comments. Okay, so I did a card class recently with Emma Goddard, who's a coastal crafter, and we made a card similar to this, different stamp set, but using these strips of DSP. And I loved it, and I wanted to recreate it. So this was the card I have done earlier today, and now we're going to make essentially the same card. We're just going to change up the color scheme a little bit. Hello, Lynn. And yeah, I'm going to show you what we did, and we're going to simplify it a tiny little bit. So what I did when I made this card is you take a piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is 5 1/4 by 4, so those are our dimensions, and then we're going to cut a strip out of the middle so that we can put all these strips of DSP. So when I made this version here, I wanted to be a little bit fancy, but we're not going to be fancy right now. But I took basically, so these are the pine wood dies. I took the dies and I used this curved shape to create this wave, basically. So all I did was took this piece of paper, I put it in my Big Shot, and then I laid this down and cut twice to get this kind of wavy shape. But for simplicity right now, and also because I know not everybody has a Big Shot or the cut and emboss machine, or you don't have these kind of dies, I'm just going to show you how you can do it very simply using a ruler. So I've already done the markings just so that I wasn't trying to figure it out while we were live. And I'm going to just show you what I did, if I could find my ruler. So what I have done is I have taken my ruler, my piece of paper, and a pencil. I have marked a 1/2 inch from this edge, and I've just put a little notch there so that I know where to cut it. And then I've done 3 inches from the top edge. Okay, so you can see we went 2, 3, and we went up 1/2. And then I've done the opposite on this side. I've gone down 1/2 and I've gone up 3. Okay, we're going to run that through our paper cutter to create our strip. So I'm just going to pull out the cutter and we're just going to line it up. So we're just going to put it so our pencil marks are in there, comme ça, and then cut down, and then we're going to do that again. Pencil marks and cut down or up. Okay, so now we have a top and a bottom, and we have this strip in the middle. So this is just scrap white, but we are still going to use this. It's going to be helpful to set up our template. Okay, so we're going to put away the paper trimmer for now. It is going to come back in a moment. So I already had a few things prepared so that this video didn't take forever. So I already have some real red, a card base, our standard card base, so 8.5 by 5, 8.5 by 5.5, folded in half. And then I have a second sheet of Whisper White, which is cut at, again, 5 1/4 by 4, okay? So we're gonna use this to attach all of our strips, and then we're gonna pop these guys up with dimensionals. You could do it without this second strip of white, but this is the way I learned it, and I like how it looks, so we're going to just do it that way. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to place these 2 pieces over top of my full piece of Whisper White, and I'm just going to trace where the gap is going to be. So you're just going to, again, take your pencil and draw a line. And we're going to do the same on this end. And this is the gap that we need to bridge with our DSP, okay? So our DSP strips, you can see they don't have to be that big. When I was doing this card, my card that we're going to be copying, hey Cheryl, I just did like 2 3/4 inch strips. It's all you need. You don't, like you can see, you only really need 2.5. We're just going to take our strips and glue them up the side here. I found it easiest to cut the strips in centimeters versus inches. Just because it was easier to divide. Although here you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you could do 8 strips, which would be less strips than I have, and they would be thicker at 1/2 inch. What I did was 10 strips at 1 centimeter. But you can see it's just a little over 10 centimeters. So then I have this little weird strip here. So what I'm going to actually do, so I might actually switch it to inches and do less strips. Or we could do, I think we could do 3/8. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, we're off again. So I might actually switch it to 8. We're gonna do these ones a little bit thicker. We'll just see how that looks and then we'll know what we like. So we're gonna do 8 at 1/2 inch. And that's gonna fit perfectly, okay? So you can see with this card, I chose to go sort of with the green. So I colored my coffee cup green. I've got a mossy meadow background. So my accents were the red. And I did mostly the green here with just a few pops of red. So we're gonna kind of do the opposite on this one. We got the red background. So we're going to do green, primarily red strips with pops of green. So we're only doing 4 strips. Okay, so we got to plan this out here. So I've got some of the papers already pulled out. And I am using the papers from, I think it's Heartwarming Hugs DSP. I love this DSP. It's just the reds, real red, mossy meadow, pear, pizzazz, and white. So I like that it's just sort of very bright, cheerful, Christmassy colors. And I like, hello Jill, that it is not like overtly Christmas, so that you could use it for other things. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my 1/2 inch and I'm gonna cut a strip of that one, and then we can use both sides of some of these. So I'm just gonna cut some 1/2 inch strips and then we're gonna go from there. I'm gonna do a 1/2 inch strip of this. And we're gonna do a 1/2 inch strip. I think I might do stripes this way. This one. And we're gonna do a 1/2 inch strip of this guy, which I had already cut for something else. So I said I needed 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna do 2 of each, and then we can just flip them over if we want, or we'll use 2 of the same pattern. So there's 2 of those. And then we know we only need this to be like 2, so I'm just gonna do them, I'm gonna do them in 3s because this strip is 12 inches. And then I can use it for another card. So there's 2 of those. And then we're gonna do a couple more of these. So when I made this card in the class that I took, we actually did it with the snowflake. So we did the Snowflake Splendor DSP. And then for our cutouts, we did snowflakes. So here you can see I did the coffee cups. So I just wanted to do something different. And I was looking for something that kind of fit. I've been playing with this idea for a couple of days now. I'm just gonna leave these guys long. It doesn't matter that they're longer because they're gonna be covered, okay? So we're gonna put the trimmer aside. I'm gonna keep the paper handy in case I decide that we need more or we don't love what we got going on. And we're gonna be off to the races. Okay, so let's, what I generally do is I take this piece, I'm going to put out my silicone mat. We're gonna do this, and then we're just gonna kind of line this up. I'm actually gonna put the red behind it just so we can kind of get a sense of what we're playing with. And then what did I say? I said we wanted mostly red with pops of green. Let's pull out the original card here, just so we can kind of see what we're working with. Plus we're going to use these bits of white as well. Okay, so red, we got all our strips. Oh, yeah, okay, that guy, and then this one. I don't like that, that's too white. Okay, so if we start with this one, and then maybe do a green, a stripe, dots, more dots, stripes, plaid, and then that kind of leaves us like that. So I'm just kind of getting a sense if I like what we've got going on here. Yeah, I'm okay. I would like a little bit more. Which one has the dark green polka dots? That one. Okay, I think I like that better. I want a bit more of the green. All right, so it really doesn't matter. You're just gonna play around with what you like the best, right? Arrange the stripes. I know when I did this card, I had them all how I liked it, and then I just took them all off, and then I had no idea what I had when I was left. Okay, so I'm gonna take this red piece away because we don't want any glue on it, and I'm just gonna pull these guys up if I like that order, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna pull out my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm using this more and more, so I was 100% snail all the way. Now I am trying to do a little bit of everything. This is less expensive than the Stampin' Seal. And yeah, so I'm just working a little bit with both. I use the Stampin' Seal for like a lot of things still, but I like this liquid glue. You have a little bit more forgiveness with the liquid glue, so that's for sure why it's awesome for this. So then all I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of outline our shape and then just rub some in the middle. And then what I did with my other one, then I took my thicker edge and just kind of smeared it around a little. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit outside of the tracing because my strips are a little bit longer, but depending on how long your strips are, you don't want to get crazy and then have adhesive you don't need. Okay? And then we're just going to place these back on. You're just going to want to line it up at the edge and make sure you're covering your pencil marks. And that really is all you need to worry about. So we'll see. I kind of think I do like this, the thinner. I guess you could go thick and thin. That would be another option. Just depends how much. If you love the DSP and you want to be showing off like all of the different patterns, then you know the 10 strips is nice. So I think you just have to cut on the generous side of 1 centimeter and then you'll be fine. You can make it work with 10 strips. You could also leave a slight gap and then you just have a tiny little bit of white. So that would work well too. Okay, so as it is, we're gonna have a little bit extra. I can see it over here. So we're just gonna cut that off. So you can see that even that 3/4 is a little generous, or my math is off. Okay, so there's that. Now we're gonna put that aside. We don't need that at the moment. We're gonna take the silicone mat with it. Okay, I've already stamped this coffee cup, and I stamped it in Memento, of course, because we're going to color it with blends. So this coffee cup is from this stamp set, the Press On. It's red rubber. I love the stamp set, but I also love coffee, but I love the sayings on here. So I did the coffee cup already. So now we're going to take our real red blends. And the way I did the first one is I colored first in the light red, or the light, well I did that one in Mossy Meadow. So first I'm taking my light blends and I'm going to go cover the entire thing, top and bottom. And then I did some shading, and I'm going to be honest with you, I copied my shading from Patty Bennett. So she has a post on her Instagram and likely her Facebook page today with these cups where she's done some coloring like this, and I loved how she did it. So she went darker, and so what I did is just kind of went like this so that I gradually was going into the corner, and then I kind of did the opposite over here, so gradually getting into the corner with my darker color. And then kind of did a thin bit across the top. And then over here, I did dark all along the top. And then just a little bit kind of like that. Okay, you can see that's not nicely blended. So once we've done that, we are now going to go back to the light one, and I'm just gonna blend that in. And we're going to do the same up here. So I'm actually going to do a tiny bit more of the dark. And then I'm just going to shade a little bit around the edge. So this is totally your preference, your choice, and everyone has a different technique, and everyone has a different skill set. Some people are amazing with these. I do my best. So I've already started to fussy cut this so that, again, our video wouldn't take like a trillion years. So I'm just going to carry on with cutting this guy out. There's no die for him, but you know what? He's pretty easy to fussy cut. So okay, so those are the big bits. My scissors have glue on them. And then we're going to come in here and do the little bits. Some people hate fussy cutting. Some people love it. They find it very therapeutic, similar to coloring. I think I am somewhere in between, depending on what it is I'm fussy cutting. I have taken several classes now, though, with the Coastal Crafter, and she loves fussy cutting. She's also ridiculously good at it. She's so fast. So I feel like I am getting better because when I do her classes, we have 2 hours to make the cards. I mean, you can finish afterwards, but you have to be quick to kind of keep up. And I do try to stick to shapes that aren't going to be crazy hard. Also, because I am buying more DSP that I don't actually have necessarily the coordinating stamp set for, I'm doing more fussy cutting that way. Okay, so we have our cup cut out. Now, you can see here I put like a little, oh wow, people keep losing me. I'm wondering what's going on. Seems okay. Okay, I'll keep going. Let me know. So we need a little sleeve. So all I did here is I took my coffee cup and I took my black marker. You could still use your ink pad, but the reason I did the black marker is then I won't stamp up as much of the DSP. So I just colored in the area that we need, and now I want the green side, so I'm going to stamp on the other side so that I can see it, and then we're just going to cut this out. And then this we are going to use as our coffee sleeve. And then it is all festive. Alternatively, you could just color it with blends. Okay, so there we go. And then we're just going to attach that. So all I did last time is I took my seal and I just did a strip across the middle. Voila. So there's our coffee cup. Okay, so we're gonna put that guy to the side. Now we need our little coffee cups. You can see here, pull that back down. So that's this stamp. And I just took a scrap of white and I stamped, I just wanted the 3 cups. I want those same 3 cups again. Although the polka dots would be cute. But I wanted the one with the heart. And I'm gonna stamp that on there. Again, I'm using Memento because I'm coloring it with the blends. You could use StazOn and color with your watercolor markers. So I want the red heart again. So I'm gonna do the dark real red. And then I'm using light crumb cake for our coffee sleeve. And if you're wondering why I'm not using the paintbrush end, because this is almost dead, this marker, and this end I haven't used as much. Okay, and then we're gonna do green stripes this time. So we're gonna go dark, dark, alternating. You could leave it white, obviously. I wanted to have, is this my, nope, that's Old Olive. Don't want to confuse ourselves. Mossy Meadow. Okay, here's the light Mossy Meadow. There's not a Pear Pizzazz blend. There's a Pear Pizzazz marker. So I did use some Old Olive in the red card. But here I will be able to use red. It's funny, I find this real red, the light real red, almost starts to look a little bit pink. Okay, so there are our small coffee cups. And I think we're all done with the blends. I'm going to move those off to the side. So again, we need to fussy cut. And I should have done this ahead of time, but I wanted to show you guys the stamping piece. So this doesn't take too long. I tried keeping them together as a trio when I was making the first card, but I didn't actually like it that way. So I like to use my big scissors for anything that's a straight edge and bigger, because then I know I'm actually going to stay following the edge versus these guys that don't have as long of a cutting surface, right? Or blade, whatever you want to call it. What is it called? It's called your blade on scissors. So nice. For wherever people are watching from, it's been really smoky here where I live. I'm in the west coast of British Columbia, and so we have been above the fires that have been in Oregon. And it's been terrible. We haven't been able to open the windows. You can't really go outside. So it was so nice this morning to wake up to the rain. The air quality rating is like off the charts excellent. So it was great. I could have my workout this morning with the garage doors open, getting some fresh air. Kiddo's been able to go to the park today. Windows are open in the bedrooms, getting fresh air in the house. It was such a blessing. And because I could open things up, the house didn't feel so muggy, so I did a bunch of baking today. I used up 8 frozen bananas. Okay, so just cutting these little cups out. I wanted the cup with the heart basically, and then I wanted a trio that had 2 tall and 1 short. So that's kind of why I chose which cups I did, in case you're wondering. You could obviously do whatever you wanted. You don't even have to do those. Okay, so we've got all our pieces. We've got this guy. So we're going to do some assembly. So I'm going to pull this out again. And I believe it went like this. Okay, so we need our white pieces. So this one is the bottom. And this one is, oh my gosh, the top. These we're going to go on with dimensionals, but we have to do our stamping first. So we're going to pull them off and do our stamping. Now, I had to get a little bit creative here with the stamping, so you might be like, oh my gosh, really? So I've used 3 different stamps to get this greeting, the Sending a Cup of Christmas Cheer. So a cup of thanks is in the coffee, is in this press-on stamp set. But I don't want a cup of thanks, I want a cup of cheer. So I'm just gonna use the cup of, and we're gonna use our markers to get that. Now, to get the other 2, I wanted sending, so I'm using this So Sentimental Cling stamp to get the sending off this Sending Healing Hugs, okay? And then we've got Christmas Cheer on the Sweetest Time stamp. So I have used 3 stamps to get our greeting. My apologies. Not the easiest thing then for you to case if you don't have all these stamps, but easy enough for you to figure out what's gonna work for you. So we can do a couple of things. When I made my first card, I used my black marker, but I want to try something different here. So I'm actually gonna put a Post-it note across the part of this stamp that I don't want so that I can use my ink pad. And the reason I would like to do that is because when we use our markers, which I love to do, you just have to re-moisten the ink, so you have to huff on it. And sometimes then you don't get quite as crisp of a, I have to be tricky here though, because I can't cover up my G or my S. Okay, well hopefully that will work. If not, we'll go to the marker. And this one, photopolymer, I don't find the markers actually give you a crisp enough. Okay, so we're gonna try this. If it doesn't work, okay. So we need our black again. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay, we don't need this bit right now. We need the top, we need the sending. Okay, so you're gonna see what I'm still gonna try not to ink up more than I need to. So I'm gonna ink it like that. And then I can take off the Post-it note. You can see we got a little bit on the corner. So I need to get rid of that because I don't want that mucking up my, okay. And we're going to center that. So there's our sending, okay. So we can put that away. Now we want our cup of. So again, I'm just gonna try to get the part of that up that I want. We can take that away, so perfect. We're going to center that underneath. Oh, delightful. Okay, I'm really loving that with using the Post-it note. I'm getting a much crisper than I did with the marker. You can see I got a bit of smudge with the marker. Having said that though, that was the very first time I'd ever inked up the sending. So when you've never inked up a stamp before, sometimes the very first time you use it, you won't get a super crisp image. Okay, so we're going to put that aside. We're gonna bring in the bottom, and now I need, so see I had black on my fingers, and you can see I've gotten it here. There's nothing we can do though, because we can't turn this over, otherwise it's not gonna work. So it's just the way it goes. Now I'm gonna pull out my Mossy Meadow, and we're gonna ink up this Christmas cheer. And I'm gonna take away the Post-it note. Perfect. And we're just gonna center this down here. like that. So you can see it's not 100% perfect, but you know, it's a handmade card. So if that bothers you, then you can just be a bit pickier than I am. Also, I try to do things sort of at a certain pace when I'm working on a live. So, okay, we are now going to put dimensionals on the back of that. Now, I had dimensionals out and I put them away. Okay, so I use both sizes. I put one in each corner. And then I put one along that edge. And I'm going to do the same over here. And then, because I don't like any sort of hollow spots, then I just pull out a couple of my little guys and kind of fill in the gaps. So I love to do this. I do this with these mini dimensionals all the time now. Otherwise, I almost never use the mini dimensionals. I don't find I have the need, but I like to do them for these kinds of things. Okay. All right. So now you just have to line this up. So I'm going to actually pull the red here so you can kind of see the contrast. So I'm lining this up to the very edge of this Whisper White sheet. They're the exact same size. So in theory, it should work perfectly. So you can see this is maybe not the quickest card, but I thought it was a really clever way to use DSP that you love. It's just a fun card. It's different. I like the layers. And yeah, sometimes we just want something that's super fun and creative. Okay, so now that's what that's looking like. And now we're going to attach these other bits. So all I did on the last card is I centered this above the Christmas cheer. And then I centered these guys kind of over here, like that. Okay. Again, I used my liquid glue. So we just want it on the bottom of this guy. So we just don't want to put glue where he is not going to be on the paper. Okay, and then we're gonna put glue on this guy. And then this guy. You don't need a lot of this Tombow. Now you want a cup of coffee. Well, as long as it's not going to keep you up, or decaf. I feel like we've had this problem before, Lynn. I've made a card in the late afternoon and you wanted a cup of coffee. You wanted a latte last time, right? I think you had to wait and have it the next day. It was too late. I have found that I cannot craft and actually have a hot beverage because I forget to drink the beverage. So I came down here with a cup of tea and then I get busy crafting and the tea has gone cold and I did not finish it. So, and that's pretty much what happens every time. All right, so and because we've used the Tombow, we have a little bit of play here. So I can wiggle these around if I don't love where they're sitting. Okay, boom. Finishing touches. So I have already pulled out the sequins so that you didn't see me digging for them. But what I have used is this array of sequins. It is called a Sequins for Everything. So it's this awesome set of sequins. Each color family has 3 different shapes. So we're going to use 2 of the shapes on this card. So you can see you've got the hexagon, and then you've got your standard sequin. And then the other one that we're not using this time, but I'll show you, is just a circle. So each of the colors has all 3. and then they have different shades of the colors. So we are going to use primarily the green this time, or no, the red, pardon me. Oh my gosh. I do find that they are hard to get off your fingers though. So that is my comment on those. Okay, so we've got those already. This is when we're going to use our fine tip glue pen, and we're also going to need some ribbon. So the Mossy Meadow ribbon in the Christmas catalog is a thick one, thick white, Whisper White and Mossy Meadow stripe. So it's going to be too thick for this. So what we're actually going to use is, this might be Pear Pizzazz actually, with the gold. And this is in this awesome 2-pack from the Trimming the Town. Oh no, maybe this is Old Olive. Okay, so we're gonna get a bow the size we like it. The other option, so you know what I'm gonna do? Change my mind. I was gonna use this ribbon because I have not used this ribbon yet and I thought that would be perfect. And we might still, but I'm just having a thought, since I have this white ribbon right here, that I could color it with our blends. I'm gonna start with the light because you can always go darker. And then we could have a Mossy Meadow. Okay, and that's gone all the way through. I think I'm gonna like that. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. We're gonna put the sequins on. So I'm gonna do the sequins exactly how I did them in the first card. So what I typically do is I place them, and then you'll see, so this is our take a pick tool. I just have it taken apart. I actually like to work with it this way. I don't ever have the two ends on, because that way I can be using both ends at the same time in both hands. So you're gonna see how I'm gonna do this. Right now, of course, I'm only using one hand, so you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, lady. But watch and you will see. Okay, so we're just doing, you can see we're doing the opposite of this card. I'm using the red where I use the green and vice versa. Okay, here's where the magic comes in, my friends. So we're gonna take our fine tip glue pen. I'm gonna take in my left hand my the putty, and then I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna put the glue, and then I'm gonna put the glue down, and then I'm gonna pull out this other end to help it come off the putty and stick to the paper. Sometimes it will just come off once it hits the glue. There, see, that time it did, it just came off, but it doesn't always. So that's why I like to have all these tools in different hands, and I don't have it put together as one. Here on this big sequin here, you could use a glue dot. It's big enough and it's not see-through, but because I already have the fine tip glue pen, I'm using that. So I've come to love the fine tip glue pen as I use more and more sequins. It's a really great thing to have. You just have to make sure as soon as you're done, you put the lid back on so that it doesn't dry and then clog it. Okay, so that's my advice on there. We're gonna move those things aside. Now, I feel like I haven't colored enough of this to tie a bow with it. I should have known that. Always tie more than you think you need. Or color more. When I do Stamp-A-Stacks or even classes, I always give people more than I would give myself, because I find, you know, I'm pretty comfortable tying a bow. I do it all the time. So I have much less wastage than people in my class might have. So I don't want a super big bow, so you can see I'm just adjusting that. Yeah, so I like that better than I liked that other ribbon, but again, you could use whatever ribbon you had. You could use twine if you had some. Of course, there is no twine in the catalog right now, which is sad, but I think almost anyone has some left over. So you could definitely color some twine, or you could just use white. That's the other thing. We could have left this ribbon white, I guess, but I felt like there was already so much white on this card. Okay, now we're gonna pull out our glue dots. I promise we're almost finished. Wow, this is a longer video, and I already did all that prep. Okay, so we're gonna get a blue glue dot, put it on our bow. We're gonna stick it on here. You could trim that bow a little bit more still. And then we just have to put the whole thing on the card front. So again, I'm going to show you, this is where we're going to use, I'm going to use the liquid glue again. And so what I typically do when I'm doing a whole big piece like this is I kind of do a little curly or like circle in the corners because I don't want my corners listing. And then I just kind of do a line and then another little circle, a line and a circle, and then a line. And then this one, because I know you're not going to, you can't see through it, there's all that DSP, I might do a little bit of squiggles in the, but I won't do squiggles if it's the base layer and you're not putting anything over top or you're just stamping, because I find sometimes you can see where the glue was. All right, and then we're just going to press that down. And if you have any adhesive come out the edges, this is where you need your adhesive eraser. I'm pretty sure this is still in the catalog, although as I tell you about it, I should double check as a tool. It's awesome. You would think, what? That can't possibly work, but it really does. And it will erase any adhesive that gets on your card. So, okay, so there we have it. Okay, so card A, card B, we just changed up the colors. So I would love to hear what you guys thought. I would love to hear what you think of this card layout to start with. I would love to hear which color you like better, if you like the red or if you like the green. And yeah, hopefully you're having a wicked weekend. Hopefully you have an enjoyable Saturday evening. Mine is going to include pizza, some red wine, and movie night with my husband and my son. So that I love. And when I do movie night, I do crafting. So maybe I'll do some more coloring of coffee cups or something. And yeah, I just wanted to do a single shout out here while I'm still on here. My snowflake class, you can still register for this class. I'm just going to show you the 3 cards we're going to be making. So you have until September 25th, so next Friday at noon, to register for this class to go. These are the 3 cards that you'll be making. You'll make 2 of each, so you'll make 6 cards. It'll be in a private Facebook group, so you can just tune in whenever you want to see the videos of how to make the cards. And I will also do an additional 2 videos in that group to give you just some more ideas. So there's all sorts of pricing. There's just the PDF. There's the PDF and the supplies. There's the PDF, the supplies, and the stamp set. You can add half a pack of DSP. You can add some of this glimmer paper. You can add a little ink spot of Night of Navy because I've kept it all with one color of ink. So all sorts of options. That's all on my page. It's also on my blog. I'd love to have some more people participating in this class. I think the cards are lovely, and honestly, you can't go wrong having that stamp set. It's gorgeous. Or the DSP. Beautiful. Okay, thanks for joining me. Thank you for all your comments, and yeah, we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.